Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to episode 2 of a father daughter discussion based on the book Thinking Person's Guide to Islam by
Prince Ghazi.
Prince Ghazi. So, the chapter 1, which we discussed in episode 1, was talking about
What is religion?
the meaning of religion and also the purpose of religion. Now that after we have read the chapter, we've discussed the chapter, and it's been 2 weeks since then. Have you had the opportunity maybe to just reflect upon and looked the difference between you as a Muslim girl going to a public school and you believe in religion, and you've got friends who, some of them are Christians, some of them other religion, but quite a number of them don't care about religion and don't believe in any religion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a difference between the way you view life and they view life?
Well, they really just view life as making money, being successful in the eyes of society, rather than having the akhirah, having the afterlife as a longer term where you work for in this life.
All right. Would you agree that when things are easy, life is when you're happy and you're wealthy, and then the importance of religion cannot be clearly seen, because when you have a lot of money, it's easy for you to give charity. And when you are happy, you've got everything. But when things becomes difficult in life, that's when you see the clear purpose of religion. The not clear purpose, you clearly see the clear advantage of religion. Would you agree with that?
Yes, because it gives you that push to go forward and keep on going, because you won't consider suicide, because even if you commit suicide, that isn't the end.
Yep, there is life after death, and you may get into bigger trouble by
Committing suicide.
By committing suicide. Yeah, and because that religion gives you that sense of purpose, no matter how difficult you are, you know that if you give charity, you help others, you put others before you, the importance of other people before you, like the Quran said, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. This is one of the traits of the Ansar that Allah praised in the Quran, that they would give preference to others. They are hungry, but someone else is hungry as well. Here you go. So that is a trait that is praised by Allah. Now, that belief in religion gives you that push to become kind when it is difficult to become kind. To be kind,
Yeah, definitely.
makes you charitable when others are not charitable. Now let's move on to chapter 2. What's chapter 2 about?
What is Islam?
What is Islam? So how does Prince Ghazi starts the chapter?
Well, he starts with the definition. He gives 3. The literal meaning of the word Islam in Arabic, and then the religion Islam in principle, what Muslims believe in and should do. And then the third is civilization that cultures have created over the course of history.
Yep. He starts in a very important way, because one thing that we have to, when we start a discussion in any subject, we have to clearly define what is it that we're discussing. And every word will have its literal meaning and also a technical meaning. A technical meaning is the context that we are discussing, and different subjects may have different meaning for the same word. So for instance, if we are talking about the word site, S-I-T-E, and I give this example a lot in class, don't I?
Yeah.
So S-I-T-E, literal meaning is just a site, a place,
Yeah.
isn't it? When we talk to a builder and he says that I need to go and visit my site, what does he mean?
Construction site.
Construction site. But when we talk to a web developer, he said that the site is now up.
The website.
The website is now up. So if you don't clearly define what is it that we're talking about, imagine this builder and the web developer talking to each other using the same word, site, and they don't identify or clearly define the word. We're using site as in website. You see the confusion that it can happen? Like probably they're working, both of them are working on the same project, a new construction. They need to sell it to someone. So you need to define, so the web developer is building a website. The builder is building the site itself, the construction site itself. Now that when they're talking to each other and they don't define which site, the web developer may think we're talking about the website. Website's ready 3 months ago. And the builder may think that we're talking about the construction site. What do you mean, construction site? It's not ready yet. The site's not ready yet because the material is delayed and because of COVID and all.
Yeah.
So a lot of sometimes disagreements happen among humans, sometimes within Muslims, because we don't clearly define what is it that we are discussing. What is the content of our argument? So it's important that we define the words, then we'll build our discussions on top of that. So what is the mean? And I like how Prince Ghazi mentioned, what are the three just now that you mentioned?
Literal, and then religion, and civilization.
Civilization and cultural. Because sometimes when you misunderstand what's cultural and you think that it is religious and you force it on others, it becomes problematic in the society.
Yeah.
Culture is important, there's no doubt about it. In Islam, do you know that culture is a source of law?
Yeah.
So it is a source of law when in the absence of Quran, Hadith, Qiyas, Ijma, Qiyas, in the absence of those things, then one of the sources of law is the culture. Al-Ada Muhakkama. The culture is, culture rules. But you have to understand that culture changes. So the culture will rule in that place, in that society. You can't pick that culture and force it on another society, another culture.
Yeah, because living in different places can affect the different cultures.
Exactly. And we see this, I think one of the challenges of Muslims living in Australia is that we come from a different cultural background.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to enforce like, no, this is not, they're not saying that this is my culture, they're saying that this is Islam. But if we look back into the original text, you see that, hang on, this is actually not coming from Islam strictly. This came from your culture. Not saying that your culture is wrong, but your culture was contextually right at that place, but not necessarily in the current.
It was coming from how they were interpreting that law in that place at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have also this rule in fiqh. الأحكام تتغير بتغير الزمان والمكان. That rules may change with the changing of place and time. It doesn't mean that Islam changes all the time. There are certain things in Islam which we call the thawabit. These will never change. Like you have to pray 5 times a day. You can't change, like you say, or you have to pray Jum'ah on. What day do you pray?
Sunday.
You
have to pray on Friday.
You have to pray on Friday.
You can't say you can pray on Sunday.
Yeah, you can't change it to Sunday. That is a thawabit. But there are certain part of the deen which we call the mutaghayyirat. This one can change based on the context, based on culture. So it is important, and I like how the prince defined like, okay, this is the literal definition, this is the religious definition, and this is also the civilizational and the cultural definition. Let's take a look at what is the literal definition of Islam.
It says the meaning of the word Islam in Arabic is to turn oneself over, to resign oneself, and to listen and submit oneself.
Yes, it comes from the word aslama. Islam, the root word, and we've discussed this a lot of times in class and just at home as well, that the Arabic words will tell you a story.
Yeah, the triliteral
triliteral words. You come break it down to a 3-letter word.
Yep.
But sometimes you break it down to a 4-letter word. So you can have 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters. Mm-hmm. So you can break it down at first stage. So you have multiple. You break it down Islam, you break it down to Aslama. And then Aslama, you break it down to a 3-letter word. And you see how he will also break it down at first level. He said that it is submission, which is Aslama. It means you submit to the will of God, to the command of Allah. And then you break from 4-letter, you break it down to 3-letter. And what is the 3-letter word there?
Sin, lam, and mim.
Sin, lam, and mim. And what does it mean?
It means to be free of blemish and hence security, safety and well-being, and peace.
Yeah.
Salam.
So salam comes from the same root word. So it means to submit to Allah peacefully. And also, it also tells us that the only way for us to gain true peace, outer and inner peace, is by submitting to Allah. So that is the meaning of the word Islam in its literal sense. But when we talk about submission, today people don't want to submit. Everybody wants to be independent, like free. I want to make my own decisions. But the reality is humans are incapable of truly independent thoughts.
True. Because most thoughts are channeled by society's view.
And everything that we can think of will be built on something that has existed.
Happened.
So let's look at our fantasy animals. Give me one example of a fantasy animal.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. Now, a unicorn, is it completely new, or
It's
is it
just
built on top of something else?
a horse with a horn.
A horse with a horn. You have a horse that's real, and animals with horn is also
Real.
real. So you just combine the two. Anything that we imagine is actually building on top something that is
Real.
real. So the only true creator is
Allah.
Allah. Our brain is just incapable of truly original thought. So when we say that, I don't want to follow I don't want to follow God. I want to be independent. Essentially, you are following another group. There are groups like you throw away God, you either become a communist, you become an atheist. But you will fall into those groups. So it's not a choice that you have to follow. You eventually will follow something.
Whether you submit to God or another group or society.
So what better way is there than to submit to
The
God,
Creator.
the Creator? Even things that we think has value, for instance, diamonds. Is it valuable?
Well, yes.
Is it rare?
Yes. No. It's artificially rare.
So when we say whether it's valuable or not, you want to see true value of something. It's not when you buy it and it is expensive. True value is when you buy and you try to resell it. Then you will see that diamonds have no value.
Yeah.
But why is it that diamond becomes expensive?
Because the company that has most diamond mines make it artificially rare.
And great marketing, like diamonds are forever. Women like wants diamond for wedding and so on. It's marketed in such a way that it has shaped our mind that yes, we need diamonds. Now every lady that wants to get married wants a diamond ring. So you see, it's now by submitting ourselves to God, we gain true independence from creations.
Yeah.
Because every time we want to do something, instead of constantly following the trends of the society, we pause and we think, is this what God wants? Or is this what society wants? And there are a lot of people who actually do not like what the society is pressuring them to do, but they do it anyway because they are pressured by the society.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Last Olympic, we've got certain sports that certain people didn't want to wear a certain dress. I can't remember the sport. You may remember.
I think it was beach volleyball.
It was beach volleyball, and the country.
Yeah, didn't want to wear bikini.
Yeah, it was not. It's definitely not comfortable to play sports on sand, but it's just pressured upon them, and everybody just wear it, not because they necessarily like it.
And then I think that team got fined a lot of money. I'm not sure if they got disqualified.
Yeah, so you see, submitting to God is not shackling you, it's freeing you from the shackle of humans. Because you either submit to God or you submit to other humans. So now we free ourselves from submitting to humans and we submit to God. And that is the definition of Islam in its literal sense. Because one of the companions, when they met a Persian general, Rustam, and Rustam said, why are you here? And the Sahaba said that we are here to free mankind from slavery towards others to slavery towards enslavement towards God. Yeah. Now, what is the religious definition? It's going good.
The religious definition is actually after Islam as a civilization.
Yeah, but I think that is a shorter discussion, isn't it? Yeah, let's go.
So it was defined with Hadith Jibril.
Yep.
So Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. Islam is constructed on the 5 pillars, and then Iman on the 6 pillars, and then Ihsan is virtue or excellence. Islam means.
So what is Ihsan?
Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see Him, even if you don't know that He sees you.
Even if you don't see Him, know that He sees you. The definition of Islam as a religion is built on top of Hadith
Jibreel.
because Hadith Jibreel gives us a holistic dimension of religion. The first is the practice, what you need to do as a Muslim.
Yeah.
And these are the 5 things, the minimum that you need to do: the shahada, the prayers, the zakat, fasting, and Hajj. But those 5 things talk about what you need to do.
The outer dimension.
The outer dimension. It's a physical thing. And then we move to Iman. Iman is faith.
What you believe in.
What you believe in. And this is the motivating factor behind doing what you do. You don't give zakat because you think that that person will now owe you a favor, that next time he'll have to repay, because you're doing it because you believe in Allah and Yawmul Akhirah and so on and so forth. So it gives you that motivation. And it also is, Iman is an interesting dimension because Iman is in the heart, but the door to Iman is the mind, is the intellect. You will find this in many places in the Quran. Allah asks us to engage our intellect. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, don't you think? أَفَلَا تَتَفَكَّرُونَ, don't you reflect? So the doors to Iman is the intellect. And Allah says that look at the moon, look at the stars, look at the environment, who created this? Look at the skies, look at the earth, who created this?
Yeah.
So it engages your intellect, and then from there it goes to the heart. And you will see classically our scholars has a very philosophical approach to the study of Aqidah, the study of Iman. And finally, the third dimension is
Ihsan.
Ihsan, which is the spiritual dimension of our religion. Now, this is the quality. Prayers, for instance, Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, prayers and so on, tells you what to do, how many rak'at, what to recite. But it doesn't tell you about the quality, how to have presence of heart, isn't it? It just tells you pray 4 rak'ah asar, recite this in the first rak'ah, recite this and so on, and ruku', this is what you recite 90 degrees back and so on. Ihsan talks about the quality. When you're standing, what should you be reflecting on? Where should your heart be? How to train your heart to get into the presence in your ibadah. And that will in turn make you into a better human being. Because now, if you can feel the presence of Allah while you're praying, will you be able to do evil immediately after you stop praying?
No, because you just believe that He could see you.
Yes.
So if He's watching you, then there's actually someone watching you while you do evil.
Yes, exactly. So, and do you notice? I've been reflecting about this for quite some time. That do we have more rak'at of prayers in the day or at night?
Day.
In the day. And aren't we busier in the day compared to at night?
Yeah.
Why do you think Allah gave us? Allah doesn't explain, but let's reflect on the wisdom. This is not the reason. This is the wisdom that we can learn from, that the takeaway that we can take home, the lessons. Why do you think that we have to pray more rak'ats in the day than at night?
Because we're usually awake in the day. So if we reflect on Allah in prayer during the day more often, then we're thinking more of Allah while we're awake and possibly doing evil.
So there's less likely of a chance of us doing
Evil,
isn't it? Because imagine you're at school, you start your school after Fajr, and then you've got your adhkar and so on. So you're fully charged, remembrance of Allah.
Yeah.
Towards the afternoon, we get a bit more tired. That is when, again, now Allah says, how many rakat? 4 rakats. Remember me, 4 rakats. So you recharge 4 rakats. And then just a short while after that, we recharge again another
4 rak'at.
4 rakats of Asr. And after that, we recharge again for 4 rakats. And then it's already at night, 3 rakats and 4 rakats. But if you have ihsan in your prayer, it's hard for you to do evil, because you realize that after this I have to submit to God. And if you have that feeling that either you see God or God sees you, it's hard to do something bad.
Yeah.
And then you've got a short break to do whatever you want, and then you have to report back to Allah. You've got your Asr prayer. Yeah. So this is why, if you practice Islam holistically, Islam, Iman, Ihsan,
It will make you into a better person.
You will make you into a better person. But if you only take Islam, only take the outer dimension, halal, haram, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to, this is what I can't do, eventually what will happen?
Well, you won't be present in your prayers, so it won't really matter to you. You're just doing it for what people see.
And you will find religion become Islam becoming a
Burden.
burden. It's going to be hard. And iman, if you don't, iman is in the heart, no doubt about it. But if you don't start iman through engaging the intellect, what will happen to your faith?
You won't see the point in worshipping Allah.
You won't see the point. And also, when you meet someone who challenges your faith,
you can't say anything.
You can't say
don't
anything.
have reason.
It crumbles. So this is why it is important that when we talk about our religion, it is not just about halal and haram. That is one important dimension. That is the outer dimension. But it's also important to engage the intellectual dimension and also to engage the spiritual dimension of everything that we do. All right, so we've done the literal, we've done the religious. Let's look at the longest part of the chapter, civilization and culture.
Civilization is a bit of it is the beginning of Islam, the history. So a noble.
I think the chapter is written quite long, but it can be summarized by one sentence. If you are given one sentence to summarize about Islam as a civilization, how would you summarize that?
That Islam was built around the Quran.
Exactly. The civilization of Islam, the heart of the civilization has always been
built around Quran.
Around the Quran. And what were the examples given?
So it was, they studied knowledges deemed useful or beneficial for human beings. So then there was astronomy, mathematics, algebra, medicine, pharmacology.
But why did they study all those things?
Learning was not just confined to religious sciences. Islamic civilization preserved, translated and developed the classical learning of Greeks.
Yeah, because if you look at the first revelation was
Iqra, read.
Iqra. And how many times that Allah tells us to read? In
Twice.
that surah? Twice. Why is it twice?
So one is the religious sciences.
Revealed knowledge.
Revealed
scriptures, hadith, those are the revealed knowledge, fiqh. And then we have
the knowledges that are beneficial for us.
That we discover, the discovered knowledge.
Okay.
Right? So there are knowledge that Allah allows us to discover. There are knowledge that we have to we can only get to know it through revelation. So both we need to read. One is the revelation, another one is the creation. These are all, because you will find in the Quran the word ayat, the word ayat, which means signs, is used for Quran and also used for the creation. These are all signs of Allah. So two iqra, the first read the scripture, another one read
the creation.
So first of all, Islam as a civilization was never confined only to scriptural knowledge. We don't have this concept, this is not Islamic, this is Islamic. As long as it is beneficial, it is
Islamic.
It is beneficial to mankind, it becomes Islamic. It is needed by the society, it becomes a religious duty. Now, you know, the Prince also said about how you look at the growth of Islamic knowledge. It is not just confined to what is developed by Muslims.
Yeah, they preserved knowledge by ancient Greeks and others because it was beneficial.
Yes. So they took knowledge from the ancient Greek, they translated it to Arabic. They did not just take it, but they
grew on it.
They expanded it to the point that the greatest commentary on Aristotle is a Greek philosopher.
Yeah.
He's a Muslim. His name is Ibn Rushd. Ibn Rushd is the main reference until today when it comes to Aristotle. So this is how Islam viewed knowledge. We took the number 0
from India.
But why is it called the Arabic numerals?
Because the Muslims used it for complex maths.
Yeah, the Muslims expanded. They borrowed that. They took it from the Indians and they expanded it. And there is a hadith about al-hikmatu dallatul mu'min, that hikmah or wisdom is the lost property of a believer. Wherever he or she finds it, You should take it and benefit from it. So we should not just say that, this is kafir knowledge, this is un-Islamic knowledge. The pursuit of the studying of mathematics, geometry, has always been the pursuit of our scholars since the past. We've got a division of knowledge between Fard Ain
And Fard Kifaya.
Fard Kifaya. Fard Ain is the basic to operate, knowledge to operate as a Muslim that we all need to know. This is the religious part. And then Fard Kifaya is fulfilling the needs of the
community. So someone in the community needs to be a doctor.
Yes, exactly. We've got sick people, then studying to be a doctor becomes
a religious duty.
Exactly. Good. So he also mentioned about how at the heart of the civilization is the Quran.
Yeah, because in order to preserve the recitation and understanding of the Quran, they developed semetics, epistemology, logic, grammar, rhetoric, vocalization, phonetics, melody, harmony.
So just to preserve the Quran, they developed so many different sciences. And they developed art as well. The vocalization, you have the maqamat,
calligraphy,
book binding, book making, geometry to just make it beautiful around.
Yeah, for art. And then architecture.
Architecture, to build masjid so that we can recite Quran and pray in a beautiful place, because the Prophet said that Allah is beauty. Inna Allaha jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal. And He loves beauty. Allah is beauty and He loves beauty.
And then they developed historiography and documentation in order to preserve hadith and the Quran.
Exactly. Yep. True. Yes. And cartography, making of maps.
Because they wanted to go to Hajj.
To go to Hajj. Astronomy, to identify, to assist in traveling, to identify Ramadan, Hajj, to navigation, and also trade, legal documents, or to facilitate Hajj when their people are traveling, and so on and so forth. Entertainment is also based on religion. So this is the challenge that the Muslims are facing today, because for so long, since the beginning of our civilization has always been built on Quran, spirituality. That is. I'm not saying that all Muslims for the past 1400 years, except for this modern age, has been angels. No. There have been people who use those discoveries, those advancements for something that is bad. But the motivation that pushed the expansion, the advancement of science and knowledge at that time was
the Quran.
The Quran and Islam, spiritual. People then take it and do something else, that's a different matter. But the purpose of its advancement was spirituality. So everything that we did back then was tied to
the Quran and Islam.
And Islam and God. Even when it comes to entertainment. How did the people of the past entertain themselves?
Qasida.
They've got their dances. Hadra, the dances. It's male and male, female and female. Circles that they would just as a means to entertain themselves. And the challenge that we face today is that now, since Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt, there are certain good that happened, but the challenge that happened was it shook the reality of the Muslims, because Napoleon Bonaparte didn't come to Egypt to preach Christianity. He was a secular. He brought a secular government with a secular ideology with him, the separation between God and government, between God and government. So now advancement becomes just for the sake of advancement. A Muslim would have struggled to understand, why would someone need Facebook, and then you've got Instagram, and then you've got TikTok. It is all doing the same thing. And what's the reason behind it? Mm-hmm. When TikTok, what's the reason of its existence? It is entertainment for the sake of entertainment. That was. Now we're not talking about halal or haram yet. We're just talking about trying to understand. This is something that is foreign to the identity of a Muslim. We've always had that bigger objective. Why are we doing this? Brings us closer to Allah. Why are you traveling? Brings us closer to Allah. Why are you studying? Brings us closer to Allah. Why are you singing? Brings us closer to Allah.
A bigger picture behind the action.
Yes, a bigger picture behind the action. Now we're struggling because of that. Like advancement for the sake of advancement, entertainment for the sake of entertainment. So this is the challenge that we are facing today. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, then there's people who are mega rich, they just are going to space for the sake of competition.
Yep.
There is no other purpose.
Space is the next frontier because you've already conquered the Earth. Let's just go somewhere else.
Yeah, they have like nothing left to do
Yeah.
apart from compete, gain more money.
Yep. So that is the challenge for us as a believer. We should keep this identity of ours, that whenever we do something, it has to have a clear purpose, and the purpose is, and Allah has given us that purpose. That purpose is Him.
Yeah.
Is what we're going to do going to bring us closer to Him, or further away from Him? Do you have anything else that you find interesting from this book, from this chapter?
Well, the last bit of the chapter of this segment is, of course, Islamic civilization was always global in the sense that Muslims were spread all over the known world, traded with everyone, and exchanged knowledge with everyone. But now Muslims are part of a global civilization that is not primarily, at least, of their making.
Yep. So in the past, we were the mover and shaker of civilization. We were the most advanced society. People wanted to be like us. So you see how until today, when you graduate at the university, what do you wear?
The
robe,
motorbot.
the motorboat. Those came from the Islamic civilization. The robe is the jubba. The motorboat was, they used to place Quran on top of their head. It wasn't. They would put it on top of their head and hold it as a mark of humility, that there is always someone more knowledgeable, and above all there is Allah, and also above all that they would always hold Quran at the highest regard. So it is also another, and this is sometimes create a problem, that we have this inferiority complex, that today, like or a false superiority complex, like we were great, we were great in the past, we've lost it, and realistically it's going to be hard, close to impossible, to regain the glory of the past. We need to build our civilization and our ummah based on the current reality, nation state, where we have to find ways to contribute significantly into the society that we're living in. But we want to only contribute in ways that bring positive impact, influence that brings us closer to God.
Yeah. Because in the past, Muslims influenced the world, but now the Western culture is influencing most of the world, if not all of it.
True. Yes. The Western world is the Western culture is the ubiquitous culture around the world. So again, a Muslim should be wise enough to differentiate what is good and what is bad. We take good from anywhere. It can be from the Western culture, it can be from the Eastern culture, it can be from anywhere. We take what's good and we
make it better,
expand upon it, and give it back to the society and give it back to the community. All right, so that's all for episode 2.
Assalamualaikum. See you next time.